Demon Knights number 7, written by Paul Cornell, art by Diogenes Nevis. We left off last issue with basically the final stand. The Horde was breaking through the walls, and they all had to fight. And horse, woman, lady, person made her way past the dragons and is trying to approach the main city of Alba, whatever. This issue picks up literally in hell, where Jason Blood is being attacked by a whole bunch of demons, but he makes his way over to Father Theod, the priest that Etrigan killed like 2 issues ago. And he's like, why am I here in hell? And he's like, because the demon killed you. Sorry, but now you're kind of important to Xanadu's plan. So come over here. So then we see the fight in Little Spring, and it's not going great. They're holding their own, but just barely. We cut over to Vandal Savage, who sees that the Horde has made their way into the village, but then as he looks over, he's like, oh, look, there's the supply chain for the Horde that is now left completely unguarded because of my making a place where people can attack the village. So he just runs towards the Horde with a couple of his more dedicated lackeys. Then we go to the Questing Queen's mobile palace, and she sees that the entire supply chain has been burned and attacked by Vandal Savage. And she's like, okay, well, because of that, the Horde is stopping the attack on the village and going to, like, the supply chain to attack Savage. And, like, everything's kind of falling to crap because also that horse lady made it there and they'll be there. The cavalry will arrive within the hour. Oh, geez, this isn't going well. And she tells Mordru to take a decade of her life in order to refuel his magic. So, supposedly he does. Meanwhile, we see Etrigan transforms back into Jason Blood, and he arrives with the tears of an innocent who was sent to hell. So, this Xanadu drinks, and then immediately becomes her young self again, super powerful, because why not? Savage is making his way across the line between the supply line and the village, and they're being bombarded by arrows and fire. All of his lackeys end up dying, but he just uses their corpses as like shields to catch all the arrows for him. And then we cut to Albacerum, where Horsewoman arrives, and she warns them, hey, the Horde is coming, get your cavalry, let's go. And back in the village, the last of, I'm blanking on his name, but that one guy who made the war engines, Aljabir, all of his war engines are burning, and he's like, all right, well, time to fight with my sword then. And Etrigan's spewing fire over everybody. Meanwhile, Shining Knight is going to fight the Horde, and the Horde's like, we're not fighting a girl. And he's like, I'm not a girl. And then the Questing Queen steps up and is just like, all right, well, no matter what, you're going to be fighting me because this is now a personal thing. And Shining Knight's like, awesome. Meanwhile, Xanadu's fighting against Mordru, who's had his powers rebounded up to like 100, and he claims to be the most powerful sorcerer of this like century. And then we cut back to Demon and Aljabir, Etrigan and Aljabir, and Vandal Savage comes in to help save them, and Aljabir's like, how dare you, Vandal, think you can pretend to come back to our side? He's like, what do you mean pretend? Everything I did was for our side. I managed to destroy their supply line and mess everything up. And Etrigan's like, yeah, all right, that makes sense. I'm down with it. Cool. So they look around and they realize this fight has grown so far beyond their own capabilities because Mordru and Xanadu are literally having just a magic fight. They're like summoning stuff at each other. And Shining Knight and Questing Queen are locked in a heated dual sword fight because Questing Queen wants to get the Holy Grail, which I guess killing Shining Knight would reveal the location of or something. I don't know. But Questing Queen throws a knife into Shining Knight's shoulder, and Mordru gets the upper hand on Xanadu for a second, and everyone's just, losing ground. It's the last little, how are they going to get out of this one as the village burns? But as they do so, Exaristos stands up and is just like, I don't care whether or not I'm accepted. I am an Amazon, and I will fight until my dying breath. And so she gets a second wind, attacks all those people, and Mordru tells the queen before Shining Knight is killed, like, hey, the cavalry is coming in, and they just beat our dragons, So, yeah, we might want to get going because their magic is strong and could actually win this battle. So they have to make a retreat. And Horsewoman comes in with the entire magic cavalry from Albasarum, and the horde retreats. And meanwhile, there's fire, there's death, there's destruction, and the leader of the cavalry is like, "Ah, you must be the Demonites. Be glad, for we have won this day." As just corpses litter the field, and that's where it ends. I think it was a solid wrap up. Again, it was more just one big fight. I don't know. It doesn't feel like the end of the arc. It's the end of the trade, but it doesn't feel like the end of the arc. So I feel like whatever we do next issue is actually going to set up what the actual story of the Demon Knights will be. Like, this issue was just getting them together. Next issue will determine, okay, here is the marching order. How do these people work together? What are they going to do as a team? And I'm more interested in that than I am this particular issue. This one was fine, but even in the end, they didn't win. Like, they just happened to hold out long enough for the cavalry, which I guess was the point the entire time, but it was still, they were pretty much about to lose if it didn't happen right then, which is good suspense, but doesn't fill me with much confidence for the team. So, yeah, no, I'm going to give this one a 7, and a lot of that is art and humor. I really do like the way that it tells the story and just the little bits it has thrown throughout. So, no, well written, well done. Demon Knights is definitely worth a read.